All right. Mic check, mic check. Just like that, we're live. Thank you guys so much for joining. Oh, I'm just getting situated. One more thing. Hold on. Okay, now we are situated. Oh man, if you guys were there in the pre-stream, just caught me just getting ready. I was just pulling up all the links and everything, and then it's like 1,000,000 degrees in here, so I was just tarps off, and then had to throw on the GameStop shirt because it's streaming time. So yeah, it's good to be back. On Monday, I wanted to stream like this, but my internet decided not to work. It came back like late in the night on Monday. Pretty much to the point I was getting ready to go to bed, so I was like, all right, like I've already done a short stream. It is what it is at this point, and it's the most major trip I've taken, so it really takes a while, I feel like, and I'm realizing like to settle back in, you have so much laundry to do, things to organize, things you put off, not put off, but like plan to do when you come back, and then you still have your regular day-to-day job and all these different things, right? But settling back in, feeling pretty good. Hi Sharon, what's up? Thanks for being here. Soljo, calls for Friday, T35. Thank you for being here. I'll get into that in a moment, but I'll just say off the bat, tread lightly, because I'll just get right into it right now. No dates. The prophecy, or I don't know if you want to say the prophecy, but the OGs would tell you no dates. No dates when it comes to GameStop. There's no dates. You don't truly know when anything's going to happen, right? And we'll get into that in a few minutes, but just tread lightly with options. Because it can. What's up? What's up? Good afternoon, Tetron from sunny Southern California. John, what's up? What's up? Thanks for being here. It's East Coast for me, so it's about 7:30 right now, but I appreciate you hopping in on this fine afternoon / evening. So yeah, just trying to get caught up on everything. Oh, see, I'm slacking. I didn't even get the stream tweeted out. What's wrong with me? Hold on 1 second. I'm sick. Hope. Crazy. So much going on in this world. I just out of nowhere. Apparently his the Rona. I don't know, but sorry to keep up with everything. Try and stay out of all that, but I'll just get the stream tweeted out here. But what a what a crazy world we live in right now. 2024 has had so much happen already, and we still got a long way to go until the year's done. So who knows what the heck else is going to happen this year? I'm just trying to be mentally ready for everything and everything, uh, when it involves GameStop or anything in life in general right now. So live now, talking GME stock, tokenized shares, and macroeconomics as a whole. So I'm also trying to do a better job of organizing my tabs. You see I have a second set of tabs today, right over here. Down. Boom. All right. Get the name out there. Mix up the thumbnail a little bit today. I got to generate some more images. Full disclosure, all my thumbnails are AI generated images. I feel like businesses are all using AI in whatever shape or form, but for me, how AI is coming into play is generating images, and I have fun with that and like sorting information. But also, I've been seeing this. People are calling him the "Trust Me Bro" on Superstonk. Not too sure. And then this was interesting. This was out of nowhere, not expected. I don't know. I just it doesn't bother me at all, honestly. Like at the end of the day, Ryan Cohn's gonna think whatever you think. I'm gonna think whatever I'm gonna think. Everyone's gonna think what they think, right? And I've said it last stream, and I'll say it again. Like I choose the route of being apolitical on this channel. Like I know how I feel about certain things and my beliefs, but I don't believe in like not being friends with people or associate with people simply because of their beliefs. So for that reason, I'm doing an internet show that has nothing to do with politics. Not even really ever going to get into that, or nor do I intend to. And then also, it's like I'm smart enough to know too. If I have an opinion, it doesn't mean it's like, or just because it's something I think, and this goes beyond politics, right? Also like finance. Just because it's what I think, like I'm conscious enough to know, doesn't mean I'm necessarily like guaranteed right. So, and that's why it's all about learning. Of course, there it is. See, late day drop when there's like expectations. See, yeah, literally the trust me, bro. Yeah. So who is this? The trust me, bro guy today. So supposedly, right? Something was supposed to happen today. I don't know. Apparently, it was while I was gone. But oh, thump. Interesting. I wonder if that has something to do with it. The latest cat report is released in February tomorrow, July 18th. This includes the period where they tried to deal with all the shares bought by Ryan Kitty. Here's a summary of the research they carried out, so you know what to look for and how to interpret the data. So this I am very curious about, more so than the trust me bro guy, because I don't know. Again, I'm just getting caught up. I've out of the loop the past couple weeks, so I don't even know what's going on with the supposed trust me bro. That's what they're calling him. But I don't know. I just feel like I genuinely can say like I feel so incredibly zen like all through here and then especially here and then oh this is gonna happen in the state. I'm just like whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen, and I just don't over anticipate any particular date. And for so long, like anyone who's been around a long time and holding GameStop or just following the story has known for years, especially in the beginning, it feels like it's kind of gone away until all of a sudden recently the idea was no dates, no dates. That was like a common thing that was said amongst people who held GameStop. No dates. Like there's no date when it's gonna explode or this something crazy is gonna happen. Nobody truly knows the date, so no dates. Because a lot of people tend to see dates and then they play call options and then you get burned by theta. And it's, excuse me, especially right now, GameStop's implied volatility is moving up this week. So on Monday it was at 124%. Tuesday 143. Today when I looked in the morning, I think they posted this 11:37, 154%. And by the way, you can check this anytime you want on Webull. It's under option statistics. It's a good little tool, and it just means that options you have to pay a higher premium and more volatility is being priced in. So in my opinion, the best thing to do when you have IV moving up is to actually go and sell options. So if you sell a put option, you're selling a bullish position. You can collect premium, right? So do I want to do this on paint? So if you're not familiar with the options, I don't know why, but I'm just going to do it on paint because why not? So let's say you buy a 35, or let's say you sell the $30 put, or let's restart. Can you do okay. File, new. Don't save. Okay. So let's make this bigger. So if you want to do a put option, right? You're going to sell a put option. Let's say you go in the market and then you sell the 20. Oh my goodness, why can't I write? The $25 put. I'm struggling, guys. What's going on? Where's the brush? Oh, wow. $25 put. So if you want to sell this, right, you need 2,500 in cash. If you need, so you need to put up 2,500 in cash. And then if the option is selling for, let's use a different color. Let's say $2, which options represent 100 shares, so it's essentially $200. What you're doing is you're putting up, I guess we could also use this, right? $2,500 locked up, like in your brokerage, right? Like you can't do anything with it initially. So you're putting this money down. And then so long as GameStop, and then you minus out the premium, right? So then you get to a point where it's 23 is your break even price. So if GameStop is higher than $23 per share on the date of expiry, then you keep this $200, and then this you initially get the $200, right? Because when you sell the option, when you lock up 2,500 in your account, but you immediately get 200 in cash. But now you're obligated to buy shares at $25 a piece if the options price is, or sorry, if the stock price is below the strike price on expiry. So if it's 24 though, you still are net positive because theoretically the person's not going to exercise because they are the one that paid you the premium, so their break even is 23. So let's say GameStop closes at $26 on expiry, or let's say the option was expiring tomorrow and or today, just for the sake of the example, you would get to keep this 200 bucks and you would get your 2,500 back. And then also a quick side note with selling options, this 2,500 is in cash in a money market fund. If you do it in Fidelity, you can earn like basically, or maybe it's like 4.95%, like annual APY. And like this is not a great representation, right? But just to give you perspective. So you could be earning, like if you're consistently selling puts, you could be earning on the underlying cash interest, and obviously it's not miraculous, but it's something. And then on top of it, be collecting this premium. The only risk is if GameStop does, let's say it goes to 21, now you're on the hook to buy 100 shares at $25 a piece. But if you're long the company, you don't mind so much because when you sold that put, the price was actually higher. So you sell out of the money puts because if the price goes that low, you're okay, I'm willing to acquire shares at that time. And then if you really want, if you're just trading, you could then turn around and then sell a call. And that's the wheel strategy. And this is, topic for another day. And definitely there's people who can explain it better than me. I'm by no means an option expert. But selling puts, like there's definitely money to be made there because when you look at like just 1 month out, right? And full disclosure, I have been starting to dabble in it, and I really am not. I've said for a while, I'm an investor, not a trader. But to me, I feel like this is a trade that makes sense to me, and I fully understand the aspects. And I also believe the idea of being able to acquire shares at a lower price for GameStop is a great thing. Number one, and number two, I think this. I personally believe the stock is worth more. So I'm thinking on a long-term basis, and I also know thyself, and I feel like I also know this stock very, very well and how it moves. I'm by no means an expert, but I also want to find another way to be bringing in money, like while I'm just holding my long position. And also, when I'm bringing in this money, then I have the opportunity to put it into more shares in the long term. So the reason I bring this up is because when you look at the premiums, right, when option premiums go up, when IV goes up, if you were to go into the market right now and sell a $25 put, you would be able to collect, you'd be able to get about $240 for it. So you can make $240 so long as GameStop's above $22.60 on August 16th. You would be able to collect $200 in a 1 month span. So if you're doing this on a monthly basis, there's absolutely money to be made. And this is called like theta gang because you're essentially taking advantage of theta, which is how much a stock, like how much in price, like the volume, how much in price the option falls if the stock were to theoretically move sideways. So if GameStop is trading sideways, you're making money on this play because even though the price isn't going up, the option is devaluing over time because theta is time decay. So again, make sure you understand all this stuff before you get into it. But my point being is I feel like everybody just thinks like, oh yeah, like let me go buy calls. I think it's to make a big move next month. Or it's trending upwards. I'm gonna go buy the most insane call when it's like maybe you're better off selling a put. And again, know thyself. If you have the risk tolerance for calls, that's great. But when you see like 34,000 open interest on this insane call option for next month, like it's pretty crazy. So again, know thyself if you're gonna get into options in any which way, and also understand, the obligation to purchase 100 shares at a set price if it does turn out to be that way. What's it, Chow Click? Favorite Red Hot Chili Pepper song? Go. Those who are saying don't like either candidate or Democrats, final penny stocks ever have options. NASCAR all out. Yeah, that's just how it goes. Penny stocks don't have options. That's just how it rolls, honestly. And I feel like it's better because they're pink sheets. They're very less regulated, right? So that's definitely an aspect of it. But favorite Red Hot Chili Pepper song? I mean, I feel like everyone's just Danny California, but what's the one where it's like, give it away, give it away, give it away? No, that one's pretty good. Ryan Cohen Trump tweet equals 45. Battle of 180 pre-split. Reed Froggles, thanks for being here. It's a possibility. I'm all here for the theories. And I don't know. This man is always kind of in code, so maybe it means something, maybe it doesn't. People also saying like the last line had 1 and the 7th line only had 4, so it's 741 again. I don't know. I've saw all kinds of theories. Take the latest penny stock runner KZIA. It ran from 20 cents to 160. No options required. Hey, listen, NASCAR. If you're trading that, you still made a lot of money. So, hi Tetron, Annie. What's up? What's up? Hope you're doing well. Correction. They will put the stock to you at 25. Even their break even 23. They will put the stock to you at 25 because they can buy it back for 24 and make $1 off the back of. Yes, John. Thank you. Thank you. And as you can see, I'm not options expert by any means, but it's like I understand the concepts and I feel like I understand options, but I'm not at the point yet where I can explain them very clear cut, and I want to be like that. So I feel like that's where you get from like good to great, when you can like explain something. Like you can understand something, but if you're able to teach and explain something, then you really, really understand it, right? So I got some work to do, but I appreciate you clarifying that in the chat. And I try to show at least one meme per stream. This was a good one. Long-term investors tonight, options traders tonight. And it's true, especially doing short-dated options. Like you're gonna be stressed. And when I guess supposedly you could say selling a put is an options trade, but to me, there's more strategy in that than I mean, no, I don't want to say that. There's strategy in both. It's still a trade, right? There's still strategy in it, but with selling an option, like you're taking advantage of time decay, whereas when you're buying an option, you're fighting an uphill battle essentially because you have to deal with time decay as a factor. But point being, if GameStop has high IV, and in general with any stock, a good time to sell options is when the stock has high implied volatility. A good time to buy options is when it has low implied volatility. And again, that's just very, very generally speaking. So, this chart though, I do want to take a moment to look at this. And then also on here, if I checked kind of recently, like pretty much on every chart, GameStop was up. Like 1 day chart, well, it's not green here, but 5 days, see up 12%. 3 month up 169%. 69. 6 months up 100%. Year to date up 59%. 1 year 21%. 5 year 2,300%. All time 1,000%. So it's green on every chart besides today, and until the very end of the day, right? The very end of the day, suddenly it just sells off. And again, this is why no dates, right? Of course, you can do whatever you want at the end of the day, but I really like the idea of, hey, no dates, no dates, no dates. Like you don't know, and there's been so many times throughout the saga. Like I'm telling you, like, and I'm not saying this because like, oh, I've been here. Like, trust me, I know everything. But I'm just telling you, there's been so many times where on this date, this thing is gonna happen, and it's gonna trigger a big move for GameStop, and it happens like 1 out of every 15 times. People say maybe 1 out of every 20, 1 out of every 25. Just it almost never happens. It almost never happens. So please don't. I mean, I don't want to tell you what to do, right? I don't give financial advice, but I strongly recommend not buying options like long dated or call options way out of the money because there's this date that this big thing is supposed to happen, all right? Because there's been so many dates thrown out there. And then also think about it. It's literally a trust me, bro source. Like, look at the memes. Trust me, bro. Like, the trust me, bro guy tonight. Literally, because he's sweating. He's saying, "Oh, it's a big date," and supposedly he posted earlier today and was like, "Oh, well, it actually could be a different time." I don't know. I just what I saw like scrolling on X. But trust me, bro, new apes, old OG apes, and I think this person's just saying like even people who've been around a long time have been supporting like this idea or like throwing this idea around or passing the idea around. But I don't know. I just genuinely like immediately I saw it. I was like, nope, I don't think so. Nope, no dates, no dates. But the chart is still looking spicy here with this big run up, drop down, starts running again. And obviously both times share offerings took place, which kind of slowed the momentum. Then drop again. And then now we just started climbing upwards, right? Stair stepping up, up, up. And then of course, who's this clown media outlet over here? Barons.com had to jinx it. They had to jinx it. GameStop stock rises again. It's looking for an 8-day win streak. It's gone. Sure enough. But at the end of the day, if you're long, like, do you really care if the stock was up 2% today or down 2%? Does that really, really affect you if you're a long-term investor? I don't think so. But I think I was saying this a little bit on the last stream, and I'll say it again because when GameStop was at its lowest, right? Just because I can illustrate a little better with the chart now. My internet's back up and working. I saw someone had a funny comment like first world problems, and it's true. It's true. It is a first world problem. Of all the problems I have in the world, I'm very thankful that was my problem for the day, right? But when you look at the lowest GameStop went, it was roughly like over here, about 1180. Then we dropped as low as in the tens, right? Like it went as low as 10. But roughly prior to the share offering, they had about $4 in cash per share, maybe a little bit less. So you could say roughly at its lowest point, GameStop was trading at 2.5x, like a 2.5x valuation of its cash on hand. And that, of course, includes cash, cash equivalents, marketable securities. And with that being the case, with now having much more cash, 9.62, right? $9.62 roughly per share because they have roughly 4.15 billion at this time. And again, keep in mind how fast they issued these shares. I mean, I've harped on that enough. I'm not going to get into that right now, but 9.62 per share. If you look at a 2.5x valuation of that, you're looking at about $24 a share, maybe 25. And then GameStop wasn't always at its lowest point, so if you look at 3x that value, you're looking at more like where we are today at about $28. So I feel like in this high 20s range is the market valuing it. I want to say this very loosely, like valuing it the same as it did at that time in the sense like as a multiple of what their cash is. And of course, that's just one simple metric, but I just feel like with that being the situation, I have a very hard time seeing it going below 20 because once it goes to $20 a share, you're basically buying 50% of the share price represented in cash. Like at that point, 50% of the market cap would be in cash. And that's just kind of crazy to think about. And even right now, roughly 33% of the market cap is in cash. So just some food for thought. Again, do whatever you want with that information. And what's going to happen tomorrow? What's going to happen the next few days? I couldn't tell you. All I can tell you is we're moving up slightly, but this is the first time I remember in a long time where GameStop has had momentum without there being any kind of hype and just like a steady stair climbing pattern upwards. Like I don't remember seeing that anytime remotely recently. I guess the last time you'd have to look back to is May 2023. So over a year ago, we had this little climb. I mean, this huge drop off during earnings, and we went right back up and then right back to stair steps down, right? But even the last little jump that was back here in like November, that was pretty short lived and pretty choppy. But this is really the last time we had like a steady climb upwards. And then looking at this now, like this is just very, very steady and then steady climbing up. Held this like mid 20s level very, very well. And then also think about it, you sold an option in here. If it traded sideways, you made money, right? And again, that's for you to decide if that's something you ultimately want to do. But for me, if I do dabble in options, I'm realizing like I want to sell options for the most part. I want to very rarely buy a call. Like so if GameStop's share price trades sideways, trades back down to $20, it's very, very low volatility. IV falls off, it goes back to 20. That's where I maybe, just maybe, start considering a long dated call option. And I would always, if I do buy a call, I prefer to go long dated because I feel like the short term it's harder to predict than the long term. And of course, with an option, you can only go so long term. I think the farthest options you can buy right now are maybe, let's just see. Oh, January 2026. So, I mean, that's not even that far when you think about it. To me, long term investing is like 5+ years minimum. I really think of it as more like, I would say 7 to 10 is really what I think of like long term. But I don't know. Everyone's definition is different, right? By definition, on a balance sheet, an asset is current if it's less than 1 year, and it's a long-term asset, right? Or current portion of debt, if you see that on a balance sheet, it's debt that's due within 1 year. Long-term debt is debt that's due in 1 year plus. And again, that's just accounting definitions, but doesn't mean it needs to be like your definition or your perspective on things. But what's up, GME fam? Michael, what up, what up? Just getting dialed back in. I have an interesting question. What has been the most influential stock that has led to the most volatility? An argument could be made for GME back in mid-May, but I think there's a bigger one. NASCAR All Out? I don't know. I feel like GME is the one because it's been so consistently volatile, and then even when it's not, right, out of nowhere, then it just makes like big moves on no news at all, right? Like, yeah, these are earnings ones, but there's been times in the past where it's just made dramatic moves on no news at all. And people forget that GameStop started rallying before Roaring Kitty came back, right? Like it had already started making a move up. Again, no news at all. Nothing dramatically changing with the business, but people tend to forget. And then also look at this weekly chart. The weekly chart looks pretty healthy. Like we have a pretty general uptrend going on here. And really ever since this period in May, this like long-term downwards wedge, some would call it the Dorito of Doom, was finally broken out of, and it seems like something is just kind of mechanically changed on the stock. Like obviously, I don't have any particular analysis on it, but it just feels different right now. I guess that's the simplest way to say it. But you don't want to make trades just on feeling, and again, hence why I'm a long-term investor. Funny Spider, thank you for being here. Appreciate the super chat. Much, much appreciated, my friend. Really, really appreciate. But is this where they sell those Discord thingies? Funny Spider, it is not. I don't do Discord, man. I mean, I should make a Discord group, but I'm never ever gonna sell you guys on a Discord. I promise you that. I'm not gonna get in my Discord and you're gonna make $35,000 a month free money. Oh my god. No, keep it simple. I really want to give you guys value, and just as I grow, you guys grow too, and we just bounce ideas off each other. And it's a great little thing we get going on here. So appreciate that, man. Appreciate you. But I think I might have to make a Discord again. So I made it a long time back, and then I just never built on it. I don't know. I think I'm not that familiar with it. I need people to manage it. That's the thing too, guys. Like I'm scaling now, and I mean I'm I'm not huge in any which way, right? But it's getting to the point where like if I want to do these different things, I'm gonna need help around me. But also I'm not gonna like make people do things for me. You know what I mean? So I'm just figuring it all out over time. But I appreciate you guys so much, really. Not sure if you've seen the latest Ryan Cronin tweet. What are your thoughts, and do you care to discuss your thoughts on the tweet? 420 Bong Smoke. Thanks for being here. I did briefly touch on it in the beginning, but listen, at the end of the day, like I said before, like I'm trying to stay apolitical on this channel, so I'm not gonna get into like how I feel about things. And again, it doesn't even matter how I feel about things, right? But to me, like I don't know, it is interesting. Like it does kind of surprise me that he's just getting political. So not he's not even getting political though, right? Like he's just saying a candidate's name. It does seem a little out of the ordinary. Maybe there's some kind of hidden message. Like I don't know. Quick count how many Trumps. GameStop, GameStop, GameStop. Deliver. Someone decode this. Like let's see. I'm curious what anyone says. It's like I'm not too sure what to think of it, honestly. Trump times 100. I don't know. Trying to break the algo. Maybe just messing with the algos. Interesting. I think he likes Trump. See, type Trump multiple times. When you zoom in, you only notice a few times based on how much you zoomed in. Okay, interesting. Nothing crazy, but I don't know. Yeah, it does kind of surprise me, but at the same time, like I think he's just saying who he wants to vote for. I guess I'm almost not sure what to make of it. Honestly, I think that's the simplest answer. But to me, like I'm not putting too much emphasis on it either way. Like, oh my god, it's so bad, or oh my god, this means this. I'm just okay. Like, he's still running GameStop, focusing on that. Like, I'll wait for the next post about GameStop, which I mean, doesn't always post about GameStop, but his most recent was just talking about like positions needed. So strong engineers, and then also app developers. I wonder if that's for something in particular, or maybe they want to do something different with the app, or maybe the current app just needs more people working on it. Whatever the case. So I think it's political. He could mean 45, the Battle of 180. Yes, that is Leapfrog's theory. It's certainly possible. I definitely wouldn't say it's impossible. So, good evening, Jamie Elitis. Funny Spider. What up, what up? Again, man, thank you for super chat. I really, really appreciate it. Holo ran from 150 to 51 on February 7th. I know it's somewhat a no-name ticker, but it led to massive moves. The rest of February and other Chinese players. Hey, listen, NASCAR. Possible. There's very strange mechanics in the market, but I gotta agree with Leapfrogs, GME elitist chat. But no, I mean it is interesting. It's definitely worth talking about other things and like keeping an eye on other things, like in terms of other positions. So yeah, I really encourage people still to always read about what's going on too. And that's something I try and do each day. Just read about like the latest in the markets. But and it is worth looking at some of the other things and like what goes on. But to me, you should focus the most on like what you're investing in, like putting your hard-earned money into. So that's the way to go. But look at this. We really haven't seen this in so long. Just like steady climb upwards from literally since the start of July. It's been climbing up and up. I'm pretty sure this is like the first red day of July. What did it say? Like a 7-day winning streak. So interesting. But again, pretty zen. It could go up $5 more, go down $5 more. Like I don't know. I truly feel like I'm immune to it at this point, where like short-term moves like really don't phase me. Like wake me up when we're at a new all-time high. But don't get me wrong, I'll get excited. But talking about board members, or our CEO Ryan Cohen, Larry Chang. This guy is a businessman by day, a wordsmith by night. But he really does have some good posts. Like I really do appreciate them as someone who's trying to learn business and ultimately be a business owner and build Tetron to whatever its greatest it could be, and beyond YouTube and just who knows what I'm gonna do. I don't know. I'm figuring out as I go. But point being, I appreciate like his business insights and like his posts. But I really like this one. And he talked about this a little bit in his live stream. So I'll be looking out for another live stream. I don't think I missed one while I was gone. Someone let me know if I did, but I don't think so. But I'm definitely curious for his next one because they're short and sweet, and I feel like I had good, just general business knowledge in there. So my message to the firm yesterday: be consistent about building competitive advantage. So there's the consistency thing again. Simple actions, when applied consistently, compound in their competitive advantage over time. Over longer periods of time, they can create significant competitive separation. You can't think the same way as everyone else, do the same thing as everyone else, with the same frequency as everyone else, and expect differentiated results. If you're not actively engaged in building competitive advantage, then you are likely passively engaged in losing competitive advantage. It doesn't take heroic talent or supernatural skill to build a competitive advantage. It simply takes consistency in activities that create competitive advantage that compound in their benefit when applied over time. Consistency is key. It sounds cliche, but it's so true. Like when Tetron's at its best and what I'm doing here, my streams are my best is when I'm consistent. I'm reading about what's going on. I'm sending my stuff throughout the day that I want to talk about. I'm preparing for the stream. I'm doing the stream every Monday and Wednesday, so you guys know where to find me. So that's how I apply it to myself. And then competitive advantage, I guess how I try and think about it is like to not be like, buy this stock, because like that's what so many like financial like YouTubers or like financial gurus you could call them. That's their thing. Like this coin, this stock. Like I'm telling you, like that's just not my approach. Like I just want to talk about these things because also I feel like the financial media doesn't accurately cover it. So you have like I'm trying to find the nice little middle where it's like you have the financial media that covers things, but they don't cover things very accurately or in a very realistic approach, and then very like what's the word, driven towards certain narratives for one reason or another. Whereas then you have a lot of people on YouTube talking, this is the next big play. Well, I'm telling you, I love the stock because this reason, this reason, this reason. And then they're just like loading the boat on it, right? Which, don't get me wrong, I'm telling you, I love GameStop, but I'm not like, to be perfectly clear, I don't care at all if you don't want to invest in GameStop and you want to just watch the stream and you're curious about what's going on. I appreciate that. That is fine. Like, know yourself. And like, I really am trying to stick to that theme that everyone should know themselves and know how they want to be and like do what they want to do at the end of the day, because that's what investing and bettering yourself is all about, honestly. And I think it's great that I see perspectives on GameStop that a lot of you do as well. And it's cool talking about it, but at the end of the day, I'm never going to tell someone like, oh, you have to think this or I'm telling you, right? I'm just going to say what I think. And I think that's like the simple approach, simple, but like real approach. Like that's what I'm trying to do here. And stay tuned, guys, because next week I'm gonna be doing the first. I think next week I'm gonna be doing the first ever giveaway. I think I'm gonna give away a GameStop gift card, probably just a $25 gift card to start out. Um, just test the waters. I gotta think about how. I think I'm just gonna make it random, like probably just like subscribe on YouTube and like retweet this tweet or something like that. I have to think about how I want to do it, right? But hopefully it's the first of many. I'll tell you, definitely will be the first of more to come. But just how frequently I'm going to go about it, I got to kind of just think about that a little bit. And, this is something I was thinking about on vacation. When you're on a long plane ride, I just start thinking, what's next for Tetron? What do I do? What do I do here? So appreciate you guys so much, really. I can never say that enough. Like, this channel is nothing without great people watching it. So I appreciate you guys. But good habits makes being consistent easier. This applies to both individuals and businesses. And that's just speaking from experience. And it's easier said than done. It's so much easier said than done with consistency and just doing the right thing, right? Sometimes, like when you think, oh, I need to do this in my life. I need to fix that. I really need to get this going. And then when you really boil it down, it's like, the right thing to do, but it's so easy to do the wrong thing. And you might be like, well, what do you mean by that? Just like, I know I should have a good breakfast each day and it will get me in the right mode, right? And I have a generally fast metabolism. So if I don't eat a good breakfast, I'm hungry a couple hours into the workday and I feel like I'm not working as good, then I'm having more coffee, then I'm too amped up, right? But I know if I just wake up a little earlier, make myself a good breakfast, and then don't rush and I lock in. I start my day right. I will have a better work day, and then hence less stressful and just more structured. And I'll have more time when I get home to prepare for the stream and be more in a better state, right? Just by doing these small things, right? And like I know this, but then still like I'm like, oh, snooze, snooze, snooze. All right, I guess I'm just eating a bagel out the door. And then I'm at work and I'm like, why did I do this? Why this? I literally know this is the right thing, right? It's like you know the right things to do, but it's easier, so much easier said than done. And like I'm really trying to push myself to be better with those little things, right? Where it's like, but then also that's like the difference between someone who like between like good and great, right? And I'm not saying like again, I'm not trying to put myself on a pedestal in any way. And I'm not perfect. I'm by no means having a big breakfast every day, right? And that's just an example. But my point is, I feel like a lot of people don't think like that, where they're like, oh, I got to do these little things right. I got to do these little things right, and it'll go a long way. But I feel like when you look at successful people, that seems to be a commonality. So that's something I'm trying to really focus on, and I encourage all of you to do the same because everyone's on their own individual journey, and like you just got to keep bettering yourself and just doing these like little things right like goes such a long way. But I feel like a lot of people like they know it, but they're not like consciously like thinking about it like, okay, like I need to do the little things because it adds up in a big way. And that's what I'm really trying to focus on. Like I feel like I know it unsubconsciously, but I'm really trying to put it into my conscious mind like, okay, if you feel like snoozing, then just know like it's going to throw off the rest of your day. I mean, obviously, I'm not saying like, oh yeah, like I don't have breakfast and the whole day is ruined. I can't do anything. Cancel the stream, right? No, that's not the case. But my point is like, if you want to be the absolute best, you have to do all the little things right. But all right, enough motivational talk. I'm gonna get to my post about Larry Chang since we're on the topic of him. But let's see. Um, once cost. Oh, lots of debate in the chat. Let's see it. What about cost? There are plenty of strong quotes with cost traders and GME traders. Seems like the Reddit community follows both closely. Everyone's saying hello. Once cost squeezed 3% on July 30th, a bunch of other high interest tickers run after that, similar to high interest plays getting hot in mid May after the GME AMC run. So NASCAR, yeah, there's definitely like I would say baskets out there, and we know from Archegos there's custom basket swaps, and that's also just a known thing in how the markets work. I mean, I'm not saying I support it, but point being, there are things that move in correlation. But to me, and I think I can't speak for everyone watching this, but a lot of people just care about, excuse me, the long term of GameStop. So yeah, sure, there's money to be made in these plays to trade, but if you're investing, I really think GameStop, out of all these other names associated with, is really the only one that's investable. Sure, those are tradable, but GameStop is investable when you look at their financials and their turnaround. Yeah, nothing flashy is happening right now per se, but they're doing the small things right, right? About consistency. We're just talking about getting integrated cards, closing unprofitable stores on a consistent basis, building out the online store, trying to get into collectibles with CandyCon, right? It's a slow, steady grind. AMC's worth 54 cents pre-split. Yeah, it's true. If you want to call it running, do you? Aaron Swingers, distracting passion investors here. Leapfrog's words. What's up, Tetron? Jay, what up, what up? Let's see. Because Reddit is a factual source of information. Yeah, no, that's true. Gotta always double check everything. You gotta always double check everything. What are your thoughts on the similarities between GME and stock charts? John, I'm not too sure, to be honest with you. I gotta be honest, I'm not too sure. We'll look at it for fun here real quick. So let's go to the 1 year. So yeah, cost just had this huge move out of nowhere, kind of drop off, and then now climbing, and then also it did start running right around the same time as GameStop. To me, I think it's like some kind of baskets, but then also, I don't know, I just feel like a great way to hedge, right? If you're shorting GameStop, wouldn't it be to go long some of these names and then, oh, it's all the same thing, right? That's what I've kind of long thought with some of this stuff, but there has to be baskets of some kind. But the problem is when you look at like what a custom basket swap is, it's between two counterparties, and we don't know any of what's in it or the specifics of it. So it's really just so hard to say. It's like, yeah, there's kind of something going on here, but not something that's ever going to make me go like, okay, I'm buying costs. Sure, yeah, maybe you could trade it, right? There's it's crazy to think it went to 127 from literally $1. Very bizarre. And the interesting part about costs is It doesn't. And what are they, like headphones or something? I don't even know what they do. Let's look real quick. Oh, started by a cost family. Okay, so it's like family run. I appreciate that. Together with subsidiaries, engages in design, manufacture, and sale of stereo headphones and related accessories across the world. Okay. And I've literally never seen one of their products, so to be honest, but check this out. No options. No options on cost. So I find that interesting, and it moves the most violently, you could say, with GameStop. So, again, though, not too much an opinion. Those are just kind of just quick thoughts, but it's worth watching, right? It's worth keeping an eye on. But to me, I don't, like I said, I've never seen a cost product in a store, so like I'm not gonna go invest in them. But definitely, this is the most. I think it's the most interesting like daily candle chart we've seen in a long time on GameStop. So of course we'll see what's to come. But see, uh, none of the. Oh, it went from 30 cents to 120. Talking 51 gang, yeah, 51 shares, right? Hey, I own 51 shares. You own 51 shares, right? Everyone owns 51 shares. So Tetra, you know that you can apply Boolean logic to charts in TradingView by simply clicking the ticker there. You can add mathematic Boolean symbols, aka GME, AMC. Oh, okay, wait. Thank you. No, I did not know this actually, or like I've probably seen it, but let's see. Did you know Boolean? I didn't know that's what they call it either. Boolean, like GME to AMC. How do you click the ticker? Oh, interesting. Okay, I see what you're saying. So if we did like, oh, wow. Okay. See, I learned from you guys. Hopefully, I helped you guys learn. That's very interesting. Very interesting. So let's see, GME, AMC. Huh. Interesting stuff. But how do you like? I get it, but it's like I have to understand creator, right? Or if it's like GME to SPY, so it's like calculating in the other chart. Like I don't know what I'm trying to ask here, but I guess I have to just read up on like what exactly it means. Like I get the idea. It's like correlating them together, or like another thing I was going to show you guys later on. I think when we get more into the macro, is how it's like chart adjusted, accounting for interest. Actually, I don't have it pulled up, but that is interesting. No, I'm definitely gonna note it. I'm definitely gonna write that up or look at that. So I appreciate that. Swaps don't matter till the crash. This is a bubble and rates are so high. Are high, so banks are making bank on the loans they're writing. Shit won't happen until people stop paying on those loans written at a high rate. Awesome. I think that's absolutely a valid point because it seems like with any kind of swaps, they can just be consistently just kicked down the road. And when all is going well in the markets, you can afford to kick it down the road. But when things aren't going well and you aren't making as much money, like hand over fist, that's where I think things change for the banks and counterparties. So that's a pretty valid point. You can check IPA has moved quite a bit while the rest of the stock seemed to go down during GameStop's last spike. The stock went to 400 plus shares, so it's just weird. Let me know what you think. All right, now recommend the stock. Just want to know what you think. And yeah, Michael agreed. Cup and handle chart, that cup and handle pattern. That is actually exactly what it looks like. But yeah, let's check it out. IPA. Thanks for being here, Tommy. Appreciate you. Curious. I'm not actually familiar with this one. Um, is this the one? I feel like this maybe isn't it because it's from February. Let's see, IPA or LPA. This one, huh? Interesting. This one spiked May 30th. When was GME's? May 30th was here. And then also you got to think about the day of the GameStop glitch. Yeah, no, this is newer. Maybe it's a kind of SPAC or something. I feel like it could be a coincidence, to be honest with you. But this is weird. What is this that it just... I'm not even familiar with that. I actually never even heard of this one. Logistic properties of the Americas. That is weird that would make a large move like that, though. And it seems nothing too particular. Very interesting. Very interesting. I don't know. Honestly, not much of an opinion. Just kind of like, huh, these are aggressive moves for a company that just went IPO. But then also there might be shares locked up. I mean, I don't know. again, the situation with this company. Not that many insiders. I was thinking maybe it's like a massive insider interest, but what do they do? Owns, manages, and operates industrial logistics real estate. Okay, interesting. Yeah, that's the thing right now, though, with real estate. I don't know about being involved in that. I feel like, especially like office real estate, I saw a stat today that like a ton of office real estate, like office REITs, like are not doing good, essentially. Boleyn, like where it says GME, yeah. Thank you, sir. Dude, again, appreciate it. He is whoa, we're getting caught up. De-SPAC telling me there seems to be no rhyme or reason, but every few months I see one of these de-SPACs go absolutely insane. See, that is weird, though. That is weird. But yeah, thank you guys for nothing about the company. I always see it moving no reason. Off no news. Yeah, definitely odd. Taking both the charts and calculating the movement of both charts against one each other. Thank you. I appreciate that. 51 shared things comes from Rant channel. Yes, sir, John. Yes, sir. That's correct. Your two cost and AMC examples there, you tried to prove they aren't making much of an impact on GME's price. Oh, okay. I see. Those are DD. Okay, let's see. NVIDIA, GME. Oh, okay. So I see what you're saying. Like, I get the idea. Wow. This is obviously today it moved massive. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to look at this a little bit more, and definitely worth knowing. I didn't even realize you could do that. TradingView, I can't believe I didn't start using it sooner. I've only started using it like a few months ago. This thing is great. Like, it has so many great tools within it. Just today's SPACs were the hottest plays. SDST was up 170%, then CETU caught some sympathy momentum. Appreciate it. Subscribe. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you. I appreciate that. Shorts will let GME hit 30. Coffee, welcome back. Thanks for being here. Yeah, I mean, listen, touch. After hours was weird yesterday, right? Let's start there. After hours, big move. I haven't really seen it in a while. No particular news or anything. I thought maybe there was going to be some kind of news. And it $29.99 just touches it. Just almost touches it. But nope. And then the pre-market, we get a little run in the morning. So, oh, okay, is this what we expect from the post-market? And then sideways, sideways, sideways. And then big drop off. And I saw another meme on Superstock. See if I can find it real quick. But it's like, oh, yeah, this one. Guess we all just randomly decided to sell on 1538 on a random Wednesday. Like at 328. Yeah, that's so true. It's like, oh yeah, all the apes, they started selling at that exact moment. They could just tell. Like, it's so stupid. It's so stupid when people say that. It's like there's people who've just bought and held the stock for so long. 0 days, someone nailed the magic dates. Yeah, exactly. No dates. No dates. No dates. No, we're back to specs again. By the way, Holo was a D-SPAC. Interesting. Let's get Chamath back on this. You can add multiple ticker set as well, in parentheses. Oh, interesting. All right, thank you. I appreciate that again. Yeah, remember, what was the one with Chamath? Clove. I remember that was a thing. I was like, oh, there's money to be made here. Oh, excuse me. Getting crushed. Ever since this was also like a meme stock at one point, right? I think that, see, like this one ran when GameStop ran in 2021, right? Because I remember GameStop running like the first, second week of June. So interesting. But situations like this, right, where like GME ran, see, this is exactly the start of June. Look at Clove. Same time. Those were periods where it's like, right, and I'm just going to talk in theoreticals here. If you were someone who didn't want GameStop to have a lot of attention and you had a lot of bots that you could just deploy to the internet, right? Completely theoretical scenario, and you wanted to ensure not as many people invested in GameStop and traded other things, wouldn't you just go push these other names as the next big play, the next GameStop, right? Clove, everyone's talking about Clove. Clove's a play. All of a sudden, Clove's trending. The metrics, if you look at social media and like what's being searched, like Clove or Cost or all these other ones start trending and coming up a lot. And it's like, if you just run like a ton of bots, right? If you have access to run a lot of bot accounts saying the same thing, that's how it starts trending because it's being commented a lot by lots of different users. So that's what the algos think. But the algos are basically being cheesed. That's what I would call it. My friends would say, oh, something's going on. Oh, you're getting cheesed there. That's crazy. The algos are getting cheesed by the bots because the bots are just impacting like what they're calculating, in the sense like, oh, well, there's hundreds of people per minute tweeting about Clover Health, but really like maybe 99 out of every 100 of those is a bot. And then naturally, more people start talking about it because it's being pumped out by bots. And that's where I think like some of these are like distraction situations, right? Or wouldn't it be very complicated to pump out these ideas? But if you wanted to look at 2020 meme stock data, do it like that. Okay, thank you. Almost says AI craze fueled the social media bot push more than it did progress humanity. Nah, it can't be. No, exactly, yo, exactly. They're just distractions. Diamond Hands, I love your name, and yeah, I couldn't agree more, honestly. But all right, to get back to Larry Chang here, 'cause I'm just kind of going all over the stream, just settling back in. But Larry Chang has consistently purchased GameStop shares over the past 3 years, demonstrating his long-term belief in the company. So most recently, as you guys saw, about 2 weeks ago, he acquired more shares at $24.85, and this is after his last purchase in April. Excuse me. Of $11.22. So he bought significantly higher more recently than he did just a few months prior. So to me, it just reiterates his belief in the long term of the company, and also buying shares post stock offering. He saw the price attractive. So it's the highest price he paid per share on his purchases since 2022. Evidently, still finds stock price attractive at roughly 25 a share. So I just rounded to the months. A couple times he bought. One time he bought over a 2-day period, and then we got a Form 4. Other times he bought several times throughout the day, but I just averaged it together and just basically grouped it to the month. So 2022 in March, he bought 16,000 shares. He bought 4,000 split adjusted. It was 16,000, a little bit below his most recent purchase. And then it gets to March 2023. He bought another 5,000 at 22.80, another 5,000 in June 2023 at 22.38. Then September 23, another 6,000 at 17.66, and then April 24, another 10,000 at 11.22. And then most recently, he bought another 4,140, which something that stood out to me is the first time he didn't buy like an even number. Each time it was like rounded to the thousand. Why this time? We can kind of keep going here, and I think I might know why, but I just found that kind of interesting. And maybe he's done for a while now. Maybe, maybe not. But of the shares he purchased, right, from 2022, he purchased 46,140, but we'll get to this in a minute. He owns 78,000 total. But of the ones he purchased since 2022, the average cost basis was 2016, and the average cost total, or approximate cost, was roughly $830,000. And this, by the way, this is all his own money he's purchasing shares with. But he also earned share rewards by serving on the board of directors. 2021, he got 4,088. 2022, he got 7,000. 2023, he got 8,772. So he's been awarded 19,860 shares. But he's purchased way more on his own. But in June 2021, he joined the board of directors at a time he was required to file a Form 3 to disclose his share awards and current position. It was revealed that he already had acquired 12,000 shares, which is 3,000 pre-split. So he had he disclosed 3,000 at the time, but split adjusted at 12,000. So pretty much what happened was he joined the board of directors, right? He became a director on the board, and remember, he was the first individual to believe in Ryan Cohen, in investing in Chewy with Volition Capital. After Ryan Cohen was trying to raise capital, he talked to, like, the story goes, over literally 100 different firms, and he finally met Larry Chang, and he did it, and then they became really close sets, right? Like, I don't know if you'd say they're boys, but they're definitely in touch, right? There's no doubt about that. And Larry's spoken highly of Ryan in the past, and Ryan the same of Larry. But basically, when he joined the board, a Form 3 was filed disclosing his share award that he was going to get 4,088. But what was seen was that, and again, these are split adjusted, so he got 1,022 shares. But again, we'll just use the split adjusted numbers. It makes it easier because that's what, based on the current price and post split. So it popped up when he filed the Form 3. It was like, wait, he has 4,088 shares plus 12. So he has 16,088 shares, but he was only awarded 4,088. So where do those other 12,000 shares come from? How come it wasn't reported? He had to have bought them before he became a director. Once he became a director, he was required to disclose his share ownership. When he wasn't a director, he didn't have to disclose purchasing those 12,000 shares. So he bought these prior to June 2021. So When he bought them, though, that is really hard to say because Ryan Cohen started buying shares in 2022, right? I'm sorry, 2020, about mid 2020. So I want to take this off here. So maybe Larry Chang talked to him and he told him about his plan. Like, I think I could turn GameStop around. It's going to be my next big thing. Who knows? Maybe Larry bought these shares down here. Like, he bought them at an extremely low price point, right? In 2020 relative to what it is now. It may be $4, $5, $6 a share. But who knows? Maybe he bought in 2021. Maybe he bought at any point here was high. Maybe he bought this dip. And when Ryan said, like, hey, I'm not going anywhere, I'm going to stick with this, we truly don't know when he bought those 12,000 shares. So that's why I didn't average them in all together. And all in all, he does have 78,000 shares. So I think that's why he bought the 4,140 shares, because that brought him to exactly 78,000, because his share purchases over the past 3 years equated to 46,140. His shares purchased pre June 2021, again, we don't know exactly when, 12,000, and then that brought it to a total of 58,140 shares purchased, plus the total awarded shares brings him to 78,000 shares in total. So roughly about 25% of his shares that he owns were awarded. The other 75%, very rough numbers there, were acquired by himself with his own money. And we know he spent 800,000 on these shares. So he's just under a million. You might say, "Oh, Ryan Cohen owns so much more." Or, "Oh, Larry's so wealthy that he should have way more shares." But at the end of the day, to me, what's most important is he hasn't sold a single share this whole time. And then also, if I'm not mistaken, in being awarded these shares, unless it was accounted for prior to and he didn't get awarded as many shares, but I don't think that's how it works. If he was awarded the shares, he would theoretically owe taxes on them. And he never sold any shares as a tax withholding. So I don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure he would be taxed on being awarded these shares. And if he didn't file showing that he's withdrawing or selling shares for the purpose of withholding for taxes, then he basically paid the taxes on the share awards, which to me is even more bullish because usually it's like, okay, well, I don't want to have to worry about taxes. But then this is the full breakdown right here. So these are the let's see, the stock options, right? The share awards that he received. And then again, the number jumps here because of the split. And then also the conversion price, the initial was nothing. Like he didn't, like not the value that it was at. And then whereas this is the value it was at each of those times. And then these are all his share purchases. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different times he's acquired shares over the past 3 years. So, and 2024 is not done. I mean, who's to say he won't acquire more? You know, while 78,000 is an even number, maybe he's like, you know what? I want to make it exactly 80,000. He buys 2,000 more shares. Who's to say what happens? I mean, I feel like especially if it goes back to 20, like I feel like if GameStop goes below 20, that's like really, really enticing. And again, that's just my personal opinion, and that's just mostly basing it on the cash per share because they have roughly $9.62 in cash per share. So when you get below $20, you're looking at a situation where literally 50% of the market cap is represented in the form of cash. And to me, that's really bullish because they are net profitable right now. So if you look over here, right, they've cut SG&A, and I've gone through these charts many times before, but then their revenue versus their net income, while it didn't look good in Q1, it was still technically an improvement on the bottom line. And I feel really good about Q2 and Q3 being profitable with all the extra cash because that'll help the bottom line because they'll have more interest income than before. And also their costs cut a little bit more than the year prior because look at the cost cuts for SG&A. So if we see those same type of cost cuts in Q2, Q3, Q4, I feel like they're in great shape to be profitable for the full year of 2024. And in 2023, they were technically profitable, just ever so slightly profitable. And Q4 really was what brought them to be net profitable because Q1 through 3 were negative. Although I'd say 2 and 3 were basically even, whereas Q1 was a negative, but Q4 was strong enough, and again, just talking about the bottom line here, to ultimately bring them to be profitable for 2023. So I have a very hard time believing they won't be profitable in full year 2024, But of course, time will tell. Time will tell. And we should be getting the next earnings report roughly. This is not a good estimate. It's not going to be accurate, but roughly the first week of September. So we'll see what comes of that. But hit chat one more time, and then I got to keep going here with the tokenized shares. So, what's happening? Predictable moves, coincidence, maybe predictable moves some. It's all controlled by an algo, predetermined. SPY will go way up tomorrow. Diamond hands. You're right. Algos control the market. It's very true. Retail's not an informed audience. I don't care if any security around me runs to 100,000x. I'm holding my position. Tough crowd. Tell your boss, please. Oh, man. But to get to the tokenized stocks, here we go. Tokenized shares being created for GME tomorrow. I don't see how token shares could ever work legitimately. We don't need this. If you want to own shares of a company, just buy the stock. Why would anyone choose to own the tokenized equity instead? And then also when you look at the ones that are being created, all mega caps, right? Microsoft, MicroStrategy, although I wouldn't say MicroStrategy is a mega cap, but it's way bigger than GameStop. Tesla, Alphabet. Why include GameStop in this? And we saw what happened last time with FTX. And Negative Daniel brought up a solid point. Why are people afraid of the manipulation? Bring the price back to 15. If they want the retarded stuff, send it. I'll be buying. And yeah, I agree, honestly. I agree, because it's like, if you want to go back to 15, that's an amazing valuation. And I wish I bought more shares at 15 in hindsight now, right? But hindsight's 2020. So, I don't know. To me, it just seems so obvious, like, that this is going to be nonsense in the tokenized shares. And then people forget, and I forgot until I saw this post by Roaring Peak. It's like someone else did tokenized shares before in 2021, and you know what'll happen the week with the stock market. Not only did FTX, what wound up being a giant scam, arguably the biggest scam of the century, it's just massive. How at the scale it was at with Tom Brady and like just all these huge names backing it and advocating for it, right? And just but by the way, I don't know if you're aware, but a lot of people actually got not all their money back, but were able to get some money back from the court filing. Because apparently Sam Bankman-Fried was investing in a lot of artificial intelligence stuff that really took off. So they were able to sell the ownership in those positions on behalf of like the bankruptcy filings for FTX, something to that effect. So I know people who did actually get money back from it. But where I'm going with this is, one, obviously FTX wound up being a giant scam. So with FTX being a giant scam, then it's a situation where clearly the tokens were scammed. Like, oh yeah, they're backed one of one by like a German broker or something, and like that was a lie. But also look at this. Look when FTX launched their tokenized shares, January 27th. Right? What interesting timing. Right as the stock is absolutely exploding, buzzing. Like, I'm just saying, if theoretically you wanted to do that to create shares in some fishy way, that would be the best time ever to do it. Or like if you needed them quickly, like, hey, let's just launch this tokenized stock. So that makes me think like, okay, well, why now do we suddenly have a tokenized GME share again? Why now? Is there something on the horizon that someone's betting against GameStop is theoretically worried about? So let's try and do some more funny business with the tokenized shares. I don't know. I'm just speculating here, but it's just interesting to think the last time it happened, it was right before the most, I would say, historical day, and arguably even, I mean, I don't say the stock market, but definitely for GameStop, where turn off the buy button. That was unprecedented. Nobody knew what was happening. Like, they can just do that? They're allowed to do that? Like, it's crazy. But then, shout out to Samuel Clemens. He also had a good post. Balance sheet of back, firm offering tokenized stocks of GME and others. So they're borrowing shares from someone else to back the shares they're selling to someone else, which are a liability for them. And they don't have this super strong balance sheet, right? Third party securities versus like their cash equivalents, and then their own securities versus third party securities. So I would bet those are third party securities, and then also listed as a matching liability on the balance sheet. So he makes a great point. So they're borrowing shares from someone else to back the shares they're selling from someone else, which are a liability to them. Crazy. So just please, like, again, I don't give financial advice, but buying tokenized stocks is just buy the stock. Just buy the stock. Why would you buy the tokenized shares when you could just buy the actual shares? Like, to me it just seems so simple and just like such nonsense, but it is what it is. And remember guys, no dates. No dates. Said it before, and I'll say it again. But I also do want to get into a couple macro things here. I'll have to chat one more time. Let's see. Eat fresh, 100% grade A beef. I had so much beef in Croatia. It was so good. I was having a lot of beefsteak. Oh man, it was hitting so good. The only reason I have tokenized stocks on the blockchain would be to keep a better up to date on the book. Austin, yeah, no, I definitely see that, and like that sounds great, but I just know how it goes. Where it's like, it's just unfortunate that that really isn't how it plays out. But that would make sense, right? That would make sense. The book itself should be on the blockchain then. Yeah, exactly. No synthetic BS. Introducing arbitrage is never a good idea for retail. It's true. It screws us as individuals. The blockchain is the book. Yeah, no, definitely. I definitely agree that, yeah, blockchain as the book would make sense, right? But when it's like it's not the stock itself, then it's just room for manipulation and just suspicious things. But I definitely see what you're saying, where it's like the blockchain is supposed to be a public ledger, so it should be visible for everyone, like how the shares are trading. But you know how that goes. Not in backed or FTX case. If you offer a tokenized security, you should have to prove you have the assets every second of the day. Yeah, that would be the only legit way to do it. Honestly, man. Honestly, that really would be. You have to be able to prove it at any given point in real time. But to move on to some macro stuff here, um, just miscellaneous stuff that I sent myself throughout the week. So the jobs report numbers, 4 out of the last 5 reports, they come in later and they get revised down, so it's not even as good as it seems. So my point is, like, while the stock market's doing very good and everything seems great, the economy doesn't seem that great. Like over the past few months, part-time employment is up by 336,000 workers. So, but full-time employment is down a massive 653,000 workers over the same amount of time. That's a very underrated stat because it's like, oh yeah, we're adding jobs, but people are maybe working 2 part-time jobs or 3 part-time jobs, and they're adding those second and third jobs in, or you're just adding an extra job on top of your already job, right? Or maybe you lost your job and then you go work 2 or 3 part-time jobs because that's all you can get. So with that being the case, like I don't know, it just, and then also the numbers just get revised lower every single time. Like how does that happen? It just is not as, the labor market maybe isn't as strong as it seems. And also talking to other people my age, because I'm 24, so I still touch people. I know some people are still finishing college, just finished. They're like, yeah, it's not really easy to find a job right now, just coming out of school. Whereas I feel like I was very fortunate coming out. Like there seemed to be a lot of opportunities, and that was the very start of 2022, end of 2021, where it's like everything was like roaring back, and people were just starting to hire again, and we're like, okay, things are gonna be all right after like the panic that took place in like early slash mid 2020. So how do you explain this? And this is from today. Dow's up 200 points, S&P down 1.5%, Nasdaq down 2.7%, Russell down 1%. The recent narrative has been that capital is rotating out of large cap into small caps. However, the Dow is up 200 points today, with while big tech's getting crushed. Meanwhile, markets are now pricing in 3 rate cuts in 2024, and the pivot seems to be here. All while the Nasdaq's on track for its worst daily performance since ever 2022. Big stocks are worried about the election. I saw apparently Trump said something about technology, or it's like Trump is moving the markets. That was like a headline on like Yahoo Finance. Let's see if it's still there. Starting to move all kinds of markets. Let's see this real quick, just for perspective. Trump's return, presidential debate, Trump's vibes, the assassination attempt. Crazy. That is, no matter what you think, that's a historical event we lived through. Crazy, crazy. Trump himself seems to be steering to the center, perhaps in a bid to win swing voters and mainstream business backers. In an interview with Bloomberg Businessweek, he sought to assuage Wall Street fears of chaos in a second term. He said he'd probably keep Fed Chair Jerome Powell on the job through the end of his term 26, especially if I thought he was doing the right thing. That means lowering interest rates, but only during a Trump presidency, not in the fall when it might help Biden. Trump tried to assure investors there will be no unusual inflation caused by new tariffs without explaining how he'd work that magic. He even suggests supposedly Jamie Dimon would be Treasury Secretary. That'd be interesting, but whatever. Point being, that was a factor somewhat of stocks being crushed today, but especially chip stocks got crushed today. And at some point they have to pull back. Nvidia's been literally going up forever, right? So like Nvidia's the best example today, but see like down 6%. But all these, also AMD, Taiwan Semiconductors, all of these massive companies. Who's this? ASML. What's the deal with United Airlines? I don't know why they're trending, but small profit. Okay, something about their earnings. But the point is, all the chip stocks really got crushed today. But what I see it as a little bit, and it's just my perspective, that maybe money's rotating out of big tech into more like consumer defensive stocks. Because when we look at what's in the Dow, it's more traditional value stocks and not really big tech. So with that being the case, that could be why the Dow was up today and these other major indexes were down very much, because S&P is so heavily weighted towards technology. NASDAQ is mostly technology. Russell's the small cap index, generally speaking. So it could just be capital rotating away. I feel like we see this every so often in the market, not frequently at all, but every once in a while you have a day like this, right, where it just looks funny, where you look at the main indices and the S&P, right, is down, or these are the futures, but the S&P 500 is down massively, but then you have like the Dow. Okay, whatever. But the numbers are right here. I don't know why it doesn't want to work. Right here. So interesting. Just, again, food for thought. And there's the Warren Buffett indicator, which is the total United States stock market to GDP. It's the highest it's been. So some people are sounding alarm bells on that. But also, we just have inflation. And what I think is overlooked is that inflation is a snowball. Like, it just keeps accumulating and accumulating. And money we were printing a couple of years ago, like, it's just starting to come to the forefront now, where it actually is being, like, because money literally circulates endlessly. It literally makes the world go around, in the sense, like, the same dollar gets loaned out over and over and over again. So it takes time for it to rotate through the economy. So inflation is like a delayed effect. It's like you drink, 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 and then all of a sudden you're hammered, right? And then the next morning you regret it. It's kind of the same with inflation. I'm not the one that came up with that. Someone else said that. I saw it somewhere. But then I see this and I'm like, okay, that's a red flag, right? But then also, when you just think about how much inflation there is, everything inflates. Assets inflate as well. That's why you see gold going up, Bitcoin going up, the markets in general. Just, I call it the forever bull market, because everything's inflating. And just like your grocery store prices, everything is just inflating. And it's concerning. It really is concerning. You should pay a higher and higher multiple for your investments. And then this was from a while back. And then I just wanted to point out this, what JP Morgan said when they came out with their earnings. We set aside 3.1 billion in provisions for credit losses, 62% higher than the first quarter. So basically saying, hey, we're expecting more credit losses coming up, so we're putting more money aside. And that obviously hurt the banks that day with the news, and Wells Fargo's earnings wasn't spectacular, as you can see from here, but this was back from July 12th. But again, just food for thought. Excuse me. I'm about to wrap it up soon. I'm still trying to get back on track. It's crazy, but also stay tuned. I'm doing a travel vlog. I'm trying to get that out there sooner than later, before everyone forgets about the trip, and just kind of get some cool perspective. And also, mostly doing it for myself, so I can just watch it back in the future and then show like family and stuff like that. But hey, look, I made a video of my trip. Check it out. But so I'll be posting that. Historically, when the Fed cuts rates, it hasn't been great for stocks. Will this time be different? So that caught me by surprise a little bit, but when you think about it, historically speaking, usually the Fed is cutting rates into a recession or a market downturn to try and boost the economy. That's why, like, raising rates right here, people thought, oh yeah, like, it's definitely gonna crush things, but nope, it just keep going. Initially, when it started, right, like right here, like, it was already at a time when it had gone down, so it seemed like questionable, but they waited too long. They should have been, in my opinion, rates should have been raised like back here while the price was going up. But historically speaking, when rate cuts have been taking place, and this is based on the 3-month Treasury bill, stocks have seen like pretty significant moves down. Obviously, this was kind of an anomaly, like, given the situation it was, but then this person put like AI, keep it going, or is it going to crash? Following the same pattern, because rate cuts are coming. But when you look at the CME Fed Watch tool, it projects now that we're definitely going to get a rate cut, near like certain that we'll have a rate cut in September. The next meeting is at the end of this month. Seems likely it won't be this month. Maybe they want to see one more inflation reading with like the CPI. But it seems very likely by the end of this year, we're going to get at least one rate cut, right? So the Fed Watch tool's estimating several rate cuts. So we'll see if that comes to fruition. And definitely, what does 2025 look like? I feel like I was thinking maybe there'll be no rate cuts in 2024, but I feel like one rate cut at least before the end of the year definitely seems like something that could be coming in the pipeline. And this is a better chart, more zoomed in, last 10 years, 5 years or so, of the market's performance versus the interest rate. And as the interest rate went up, like clearly the market was like, all right, whatever, I'm going to keep rallying. And here's another chart with it. But again, all this just food for thought here, food for thought. And just saying like, there's like ways to look at it both of them. Oh, well, everything's fine. The market's going to keep going up. But then also like, well, these numbers are displayed in a way that makes it look like it's fine, but it's really not, right? So you got to always just account for these different things. That's what I'm trying to say here. Yeah, Trump today acting like he's going to bully Taiwan when they make full of all of our chips. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that insight. You're a good dude in your kind approach, but your conviction is second to none. It's true, Leapfrog. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for the amplification. I got you. If you offer tokenized security, you should have to prove the assets over a second day. Kabisi has a great summarizer and contributor. Yeah, no, I love that account. I finally learned how to say it. I literally wrote it out. Like I looked at the pronunciation, but Kabisi, right? I think that's how you say it. Kabisi. Kabisi letter. Great account. I'm really happy I found it. I feel like every time I see them in my feed, I'm not disappointed. I'm like, oh, this is good information. I'm glad I found out about this. So, capital rotation is the key to timing the investments. Tech at all times highs. Why? Because they expand. Why? Because they expand and grow faster. But next is retail, and if you look at all retail stocks, they're due for a markup. It does make sense, Austin. It does make sense because, like, and you might have mentioned before, someone did that. Markets are really just moving with algorithms. So the algorithms move money from point A to point B to point C to point D. Okay, now let's go back to point A. Oh, let's jump to point C. Back to point A. B, D, right? They're just all around, right? So waiting for the travel vlog. Thank you, Sharon. I appreciate that. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. I got all the videos put together, like or sorted out that I want to use, but now I just gotta like chop it up. But I'll show you guys this real quick, like just for my phone. It's not gonna be amazing, but this sunset was like literally a picture out of Star Wars. Well, this is me. This one isn't out of Star Wars, but the big one. See, it's vibing. Look at that sunset. Look at that body. Which some of you saw at the start of the stream because it's so freaking hot. Yo, it's so hot by me right now. So I was preparing for the stream and I was just tarps off, sure, I was just getting ready. And then all of a sudden I realized I clicked the hotkey because I forgot I set this hotkey to go like that. And I was like, oh, because I had the pre-stream thing on, right? I had this and I was like, oh shit. Like, everyone's got to look at my beautiful body. So that's just the way it goes sometimes. But look at these pictures, guys. It's crazy. Trip was just amazing. Like, the sunsets were crazy. My favorite with my girlfriend is like we were just like seeing the fish in the ocean. Like you just got goggles. It's so clear. You just look under. You just see like, fish swimming at your feet. Like it's crazy. This was like the picture out of Star Wars. It felt like Tatooine. Maybe I gotta like lower the brightness. Show up better. Yeah, look at that. Awesome. But again, stay tuned for the vlog. That'll have that. So get back to a little more GameStop here before we wrap it up tonight. Let's see, GameStop's another performer of the retail sector and the most to gain. That makes sense, Austin. It makes sense. And, for a long time, it's been beat down. And it's kind of like kind of like a coil. It wraps or like a spring. You push it down, 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 down until the spring goes, right? And that's where I think we see some of these big moves. Capital rotation is no different than crop rotation. But yeah, definitely most to gain. Makes sense. Nobody rotating out of big tech into small caps. LOL. Yeah, no, I agree, Diamond Hands. Definitely agree. I feel like that's definitely not a thing generally happening. That's buying low and selling high at institutional level. Expansion, contractions, multiples, whatever term that we're going equals all. Patient arbitrage, applause. Plays even. Sexy beast. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I can go GME. Fitzy, what's up? What's up? I hope you're doing well, man. Thanks for popping in. Did I see a G tattoo on your right and an S tattoo on your left? No, I don't have any tattoos. But maybe one day. GME. But nah, I honestly don't have any tattoos. I thought about getting one. I might have it on my phone, the one I wanted to get a while back. Something like this. Let's see if I still have it. But I don't think I still want it at this point. So actually, I do have it. This is my favorite. So something like this. This is what I want, but I would want it where it would be where is it going? Where'd it go? Okay. like that. But the other side of it, oh wow, I finally got in focus. The other side of it would be a snake. So it would be like a snake and then like a rose or some kind of flower, and it's supposed to just represent balance of like good and evil, and then like knowing thyself kind of thing. And I swear, I thought about that. Like this picture's from 2018, so I thought about getting it since then. But at that time, I was also still um, like a freshman in college, so I was like, all right, maybe I should wait before I get a tattoo, right? But then I don't know, it's just not that important to me to get a tattoo, honestly. Maybe one day, but just like one or two or something like that. But I feel like whatever with it. But love you, Tetron. What a guy. Thank you, Leap. I appreciate you too, man. I really appreciate you being here. The honesty, humiliation, you're real. I try to be. I try to be. I really try to be. I really do. Next time you're in the hood, south of the falls, I'm gonna send you a DM. Okay, sounds good. But yeah, no, I mean this journey, guys, like just learned so much along the whole way, and like just meeting people, and just like how the internet works, like just as like a, I guess you call like I'm trying to make Tetra a business, but I'm still just a regular guy, but just like understanding like how to like kind of run a business account or just communicate, like that's something I'm trying to do, and it's just so funny. You see so many different like opinions and like see all these different, and also by the way, guys, side note, great way to make a better Twitter experience is use lists, right? Like I have for hockey, football. So like when a hockey game is on, like Stanley Cup Finals, I was scrolling through my hockey one. Football is coming up. It's gonna be Sunday. I'm gonna be using that tab, right? Want to see some memes? I go right here. Big miscellaneous, big accounts, like whatever. Finance account, GME elitist. Using people only talk about GameStop. But yeah, it's good to have the list. Like it helps a lot. And then bookmarks are good because then you can also like create folders and things you want to look back on. Like I have GameStop, general finance stuff, random, X Factors, self improvement, right? Because then your feed starts to know you. So I try and like sort the stuff through. And then also when I see an account on my For You that I like, I look at it. They post it like, okay, I'm gonna add it to this list. So it honestly definitely makes the Twitter experience better. I can say that. So. But yeah, where's the trust me, bro? Where's the trust me, bro? I gotta see. I gotta find him. It's okay. You run when you feel like it. I like this meme. I agree with this one. Essential to culturally normalize and allow disagreement within a decision-making context. Absent of that, you effectively culturally normalize suppression of disagreement, fake agreement, because most people don't think exactly alike. Another great post by Larry Chang. I think I actually might have missed this one. I don't remember seeing it, but or maybe I did. But pretty much, you don't want yes men around you, like because I know people like that where it's like people around them are like, like I don't know, person, or I've just, everyone's seen situations it's like someone where it's like you can't tell them, you can't be honest with them because they're gonna get super mad or they're gonna get super upset, and then they kind of have like yes men around them, and not necessarily like that they're people putting them on a pedestal, but just like someone won't be honest with them about something they should really hear because they know how the person's gonna react. So you have to be like open minded, and he's basically saying, I take it as like applying that to business where it's like, okay, like you have to agree to disagree sometimes. And then if you do disagree, like create an argument as to why, but be open minded that you could be wrong. And then I think Jordan Peterson said this, maybe. I don't know where I heard this, but it stuck with me when I heard it. It's like when you talk to someone, you should always assume, like going into it, like going into a conversation talking to someone that you don't know or like what they're going to present, or you just get spectacle. So you don't have to wrap it up soon. Skeptical of whatever they're saying, but you should go into it, right? Open minded that this person is going to teach you something you don't know or inform you something of you don't know. And like obviously you can then make an assessment of that information, but it's good to like go into a conversation assuming the person has something new to teach you or information to share that you were not aware of, and like you can digest it later and look it up and understand like, okay, yeah, like I agree with that or I don't agree with that or here's a counterpoint, but just like a good way to like go into it. And that really stuck with me. So see, at least I'm in the hood. What acquisitions and mergers would you like to see GME make? Boat, thank you for being here. It's a valid question. I'm really not too sure. Like I really The idea of like doing a gaming studio of some kind to create games, that sounds cool, but I don't know the logistics behind that. I feel like maybe something with tech. I really would like to see them, not really a merger acquisition, but just do more with private label brands, like build out CandyCon more, create a few more private label brands, and create a high quality product for those private label brands. I want to see more stuff like that. But beyond that, I think some kind of tech company like computer parts. Like I know that for a long time the idea of Newegg has been floated around, and I mean they are. It's not impossible, right? Because the market cap is 410 billion. That's about 10% of GameStop's total cash. And the question is like, how much would Newegg want to sell for? That's definitely a factor. But just selling computer parts, and supposedly they have large insider ownership. I'd have to look into that. That seems odd, very peculiar. They're massive insider holders. Supposedly there are. Let's see, but they don't come up on here, so that doesn't help me. And by the way, guys, Yahoo Finance is good for glancing at information, but when you want specific details, always read the company's like financial reports and look beyond Yahoo Finance. So if you're seeing me on it a lot, it's not that I'm like blindly looking at it for everything. It's just like it's a good like overview type of thing. Personally, for me, I wanted to take Newegg for 200. I swear, Leap, I didn't even see that. I swear. But yeah, no. Like if they can get Newegg at a lower valuation, I don't see why not, honestly. And then also, and I think if you look at Newegg's numbers, I think someone posted a while back. It's like they do have a pretty decent amount of SG&A, where it's like if you got rid of a lot of them and theoretically just kept the best ones and merged them into GameStop, maybe there's something there with that, right? And if they do get into a situation where they have to do a reverse split, that could really crush them. Because if you're not aware, a reverse split is like for every 10 shares you have, you now have one and the price 10x's. So that's usually not a good thing. GameStop did like a standard split. So if they did a reverse split, that could really crush them. Maybe their market cap does go back to 200 million and then it becomes more attractive. Although generally speaking too, when an acquisition takes place, usually it's higher than the price per share in the open market. So they would probably need Newegg's price to get crushed. Things to not look so good for Newegg, and then offer them a premium at that point. So if it goes down to 200 million, maybe they offer them 300 million. But hey, well, your market cap's 200 million. We're going to offer you a 50% markup because we believe in the long term of the company, right? And obviously, it depends on the negotiations and the specifics, but also keep in mind what I don't feel like anyone's really mentioned. It's not impossible. Like we don't know that for sure that GameStop hasn't had an acquisition like about to happen and then it fell through. Like whether negotiations they couldn't come to terms on a price because we know Ryan Cohen, just the nature of how he is and the board, they're not going to just overpay for something. Like they're going to be really, really looking to purchase at what they believe is fair value. And let's say they're trying to buy Newegg for $1.25, just for sake of example, and then GameStop like, no, we're only going to pay 115 per share. And if they can't work out the specifics, and you might think, oh, only 10 cents per share, but scale that up to millions and millions of dollars. If they can't work out that deal, the deal falls through, right? So who's to say that maybe at one point they didn't have some kind of deal going on and that deal just fell through, right? So it's not impossible. I'm not saying that's what definitely happened, but my point is they could be in talks. They could have previously been in talks with other companies for an acquisition, but my gut feeling is that nothing's happened yet. They're probably waiting for some kind of market crash scenario or just market downturn where things really get beat down on their valuations and kind of go Warren Buffett style, buy super heavy during a market crash, right? But again, time will have to tell with that. I also think Valve is overvalued by analysts, and if there's one more offering, it could be on the table. Valve upper management is nearing retirement, maybe time to give up a successor, and I don't buy that they would never sell such go public narrative. Yeah, see, I'm not too familiar with that Valve story, but that is interesting. And then also, while there's a lot of suspicious things that go on with private equity, who's to say they don't invest in a private company, right? Like Epic Games, I know still consistently raise money. What if they were to buy a private placement in Epic Games and own a stake of it, right? That's just something that could potentially happen. Like, so they don't have to necessarily go public. And that's the thing I also think too, where I'm like, they could buy something that's small and not on anybody's radar, and then it's just like a really good fit and easy to implement into the business. So that's also something that could happen. we could see some small acquisitions. He was always wary of the prevalence of any particular narrative without data, and I feel like 4+ years later, we should be too. Wary. Canadian. You're good. You're good. Don't worry. But yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, no, I think that's a great way to be. Like, you should always be skeptical of information without data backing it. And in general, and the internet and the world we live now, it's so hard to know what's real and what's not. So you should always like be skeptical and just really dig into things. And that goes, I feel like, even beyond stocks, just information in general, because it's so hard to know what's true and what's not, right, in this world right now. Especially with what AI is like. Soon, even like you're gonna see a video and be like, is that even real? I don't even know. Last comment for me, Tetron, please follow me on the X Twit so we can converse non-publicly. Same username. Okay, I got you, man. I got you. I'm gonna do that right now. I'm sorry if I don't already. I'm kind of lazy with follow backs. Like I follow a lot of people back at the beginning when I was getting started, and now like I don't do it as much. I got you. Followed back. Appreciate you being here, so you get a follow back. If anyone else wants a follow back right now, let me know. I got you. What effect do you think GME doing a stock buyback would have? Boat, I think, maybe temporarily would push the price higher, but I feel like it's just not in the cards right now, because why would you buy back shares after issuing them? I feel like they would buy back shares once they have the business really rocking and rolling and just driving forwards. And then if the stock price hasn't caught up, they go, okay, well, now we feel it's undervalued based on what we're doing. So let's take advantage and buy some shares back now. So while they could theoretically do it now with the cash, I feel like it have a very short term effect. And then also with the nature of the stock and the strange things I have with it, I feel like it would just get knocked back down. Waste of capital, in my opinion. Way better multiples to be made with the cash and other options. I'm so excited for next earnings. Me too, Boat. Me too. Can't come soon enough. Valve Steam. Oh, gotcha. Okay, yeah, there's still something on our sleeping giant. Wake me up in September. What's that song? It's like, wake me up when. See, I can't think. September ends. Sure, who sings that, but. China bear market today. Oh, really? It's crashing? Let's see. What about Baba? Oh, yeah, supposedly, President Xi, right? I think that's his name. Allegedly, he had a stroke. That's pretty concerning. That's pretty crazy. I don't know. I mean, I don't follow specifics of how that it would impact us, but when I say us, I mean America or just the West, you could say. But yeah, I don't know. It's just alarming because then also it's like, okay, if God forbid something happens to him, right? Like he has another stroke and he passes, then who takes the reins next? What if that person is like crazy, right? It's like it's just uncertainty. So that's probably why China's stocks went down, because the market doesn't like uncertainty, and that's obviously creating some kind of uncertainty. Yeah, it's easy. As soon as somebody says they consulted ChatGPT, you ignore the following words and use their brain. Hey, not so bad. Not so bad of an analysis, my friend. I'll use it for like explain this in simple terms, and I feel like that's a good tool. Or to generate images, I do that. Sometimes even at work, I'll be like, grammar correct this email and improve, and then I'll read what it spits out, and then I'll compare it to my email. I'm like, oh, okay, I like that part. I'll change that little part, but I won't just like copy and paste it in, right? So like, I feel like there's use case for AI, but if you're like, ChatGPT, tell me why Alibaba is a better stock than GameStop, or GameStop's a better stock than like that is not gonna do anything for you. You know what I mean? So, but I know what you're saying. Generally speaking, if you say, oh, I consulted ChatGPT, ignore everything else. The internet was once full of hope. I was listening to a podcast about that today, or just started it. This guy, Mark Manson, he wrote the book, The Art of Not Giving an F. I found his YouTube and I've been watching it, and like great content, just very simple. And I just think he's a cool guy. But I was just listening to the start of his podcast. I think it was just uploaded today. And basically they were saying like when the internet first came out, it was like this great thing and all this hope with it. And it was just such a unique thing. But during that period, it was like, oh, don't let your kids on the street. Like it's dangerous. Like you have to protect them from like the crazy people on the street. Like people didn't trust their neighbors anymore. Or just lack of trust. Whereas years before that, right? Like I think they were saying like the 90s, that was kind of the thing. But like whereas like the 70s, 80s, 60s, all that time, it was like kids would just play outside, and it was like whatever. You know what I mean? It wasn't like more common where parents like be careful, like outside. But it's like the point they're making is like as the internet was getting bigger and bigger and more relevant, our parents were so focused on protecting kids from like real life stuff, which don't get me wrong, you have to obviously do that as a parent, but they were so focused on that when they really should have been focused on protecting them from the internet and what they were exposed to on there because they didn't realize like the way and what it was scaling up to be, right? So they were saying something to that effect, but that's what you just said briefly reminded me of. So, um, Chinese are. Let's see, the internet was once full of hope. Yeah, Chinese are angry people, but sometimes high strung wouldn't doubt it. Like any culture, you can't make blanket statements. Yeah, I hear you, man. I just don't like use weak use fact. It's not fact. Quantity over quality. Garbage in, garbage out. China passing USA by. China haters are clueless. Better educated tech, more people, better manufacturing, engineering, on and on. There's zero intelligence. It is like a dog that knows how to walk. From its from humans, I get to run a piss. But no, that's the thing with China too. Like their algorithms for social media stuff, like they promote like here we promote like people dancing and hook to spit on that thing or like all this like random stuff. Whereas there, right, supposedly their algorithm promotes like this person who played a song really good or this person who wrote a book really good. Right? I mean, I don't know. I don't live there, but it's just interesting how the algos are very different in each country, right? And also just talking to, because I'm a general younger person, talking to like my cousin and brother who are like younger than me, and just talking about how their friends and stuff. I'm like, oh my god, like I'm genuinely just scared for this next generation. Like, I feel like they're, and even just I've seen like posts of like teachers saying like these kids like are declining in their knowledge. Like they're getting to like third grade and they know like they're at like a first grade reading level, and like I have to try and squeeze everything and move them along, and then they get to the next year and like I don't know, there's all kinds of problems. I can go on and on about this stuff, but AI algorithms chase acceptance. What do you think about cat data coming out tomorrow? Boat, I'm curious. I saw the post up back here. I don't know what to think yet until it comes out, but I'm definitely gonna try and sift through it because that theory last time I did read through it on a previous stream. It's interesting, right? You can't say for sure because it's data relative to all the markets, and you should look up this person, region dash formal. I believe he's the person who posted it last time. But it's definitely interesting, and like you can't perfectly correlate it because it's markets as a whole, not just GameStop. But the timing and the way the dates line up, you can't help but like scratch your head a little and be like, "What's going on here?" And it's worth looking at. It's always worth looking at, right? Just at least taking a look at it. And yeah, this is probably I feel like the post you saw. I'm about to fake it to US and our brain. So post in Supersonic to prove it to us about Cat. AB though, my little brother spends Antonio Brown. If I don't know, that's probably not what you mean about AB, but that guy, man, I'm a Steelers fan. It's crazy. He used to be like arguably the best receiver in the league. It's just total meltdown. I mean, that is like crazy. He was never the same after that Vontaze Perfect hit. That guy that rocked him. Like I swear, he had CTE since then. But I don't think that's what you meant about AB. But my little brother spends 5 hours a day on his Oculus. It's scary. Yeah, but that's crazy. That's crazy. That's the thing too. My brother told me he has like friends, and I feel like I'm pretty good with like my group where like we're not really like this. But and there's definitely people like so. He said he has friends like they're hanging out and like nothing's going on and like they can't stop swiping. Like they swipe, 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 swipe. Like they're just hanging out in the same room, kind of doing nothing, or just swipe, 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 just swiping endlessly. And it's like the swiping is crazy. Like it's like social media got faster and faster. First just YouTube videos, then it was like Instagram added videos, then all of a sudden everything has now Reels, YouTube Shorts, TikTok, swipe, 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 right? The swipes are crazy. You can compare, oof, does cat yet have an indicator coverage included the naked? Not that I'm aware of, but aka the number or percentage of orders cat can to should capture compared to what was actually captured, or is it overall lit dark activity? Honestly, I'm not sure. I got to dig into it more. I think it's overall. If you want to look at this user's page, like he talks about it a lot and has like some general stuff about it, but I'm yawning so much. It might be about time to wrap it up. I'm regretted. No, you're good. Listen, guys, that's the thing too. Everyone says like, "Oh yeah, like I'm just a stupid ape," or that's like the name. Oh, I'm just a stupid ape. But it's like if you're wanting to learn, like I feel like that just puts you ahead of like so many average people these days. I mean, I don't know, I can only speak from my personal perspective, but just the will to learn and want to know more, I feel like is a great thing. And I really try and tried to keep that. Like, and while like I didn't like college and I didn't like, I did fine, right? Like I did what I needed to do. Don't get me wrong, but like I wasn't motivated to like keep learning. Whereas with all this stuff, like whether it's just stocks, money, finance, and just even like taxes, like and just being like the best financially that I can, because I want to like for my family and my future and all that. Like that's why I care about it. And you have to. It's the way the world works. Like finance is a part of things. So like I'm really intrigued to learn about all this stuff. And obviously the GameStop story is just such an epic story to learn in itself and just follow it itself. So like when you're intrigued, like it's easier to have the will to learn. But not everybody does, right? Some are like, oh yeah, like I'm just hoping for the best. Like to me, like you got to keep learning. And if you're here right now, you're probably trying to learn in some shape or form, right? Or at least hang out. And here's some things that you maybe didn't know, and then you guys tell me things I didn't know. Like, for example, before tell me like I could do this on the chart. I was like, oh, you could do that. I didn't know you could do that, right? Evan Cole's not a great example, but video. So it's good to know. But nice, you mean flotation. Let's see. Charlie Munger said, "Learning one thing every day puts you ahead of the rest. Keep growing." I like that quote, Austin. I like that. Use the parentheses. Okay, I'll use the parentheses. Let's see. And then I'm gonna wrap it up. So what is it like this? And then oh, I promise, man. I promise I'll look it up. I'm just like burning out right now. But so Bo, good question. Do you anything besides GME Tetron? Yes, I do. So I'm a big Bitcoin guy. So of what I own, GME is by far the largest. Then the next largest is Bitcoin, and then from there like S&P, which I just have through my 401k, or I don't know, I guess relative to the Bitcoin, but and then from there I have like a few other stocks from a while ago that I've just kind of held. Like I have a few like miscellaneous like Pepsi shares in my IRA and a tiny bit of Palantir, nothing crazy. And then besides that, like I'm really just stacking cash right now. So that's just what I'm doing. And again, please always make your own individual decisions. But I really absolutely believe in GameStop the most. Like I can undoubtedly say that because one, that's where the most of my capital is, and two, it's just such a unique story when you understand what's underlying. You're like, everything else can really get screwed. But why you might think, oh, why don't you sell everything else? Because I'm like, I don't know. You don't know dates when GameStop's gonna explode. But I really look at owning GameStop as the hedge to a market crash scenario. So I feel like I'm in a good spot, and even without the market crash scenario, so long as the company keeps turning a profit, they're in good shape, and the balance sheet can keep just building up in terms of the cash, and they can earn more interest until they find the right opportunity to move forward. Pepsi's a great stock. Yeah, no, Diamond Hands, exactly. That's like just a consumer defensive stock, and it's just like a stock I'm literally just going to hold forever. And the reason I have Pepsi in particular is my grandpa is a big shareholder of it, and he got it from his dad. So great grandpa Tetron basically owned Pepsi, and it's been passed down. So, and when you look at Pepsi 50 years ago and where it is now, you're like, oh, that went up quite a bit. Like that's how and you collect the dividends the whole time, huh? That's how this stuff works, huh? That's how I first got intrigued in stocks. Like talking to my grandpa, he actually worked on Wall Street straight out of high school. His dad got him a job there, and yeah, that's where my initial interest came from with it. But okay, let's see. So, or any operator. So it'd be like AMC plus Video plus Clove. Oh wait, or maybe like literally an XYZ. Or you probably mean XYZ stocks, but like or fill in the blank with stocks, but no, messing it up. But oh man, yeah, I think I gotta wrap it up here, guys. I'm just feeling so burnt out today, honestly. Still getting back on track, but yeah, I'm just gonna keep riding the waves. It's kind of more of a low right now with the stock in terms of hype and just less things being talked about, but that's all right. That's just the way she goes sometimes. You gotta ride the ups, you gotta ride the downs, and you just gotta embrace it all. But yeah, really, I appreciate all of you guys being here tonight. Thank you so much. And yeah, it's starting to rain here, so I think good timing. Hopefully the power doesn't go out. That would suck, especially if it's so damn hot. But yeah, I think I'll wrap it up here officially. So again, thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you very much. Keep grinding forward. Keep an eye out for that giveaway next week. The travel vlog, and just on X if you don't already follow me at Tetron Invest. There you go. So yeah, appreciate you guys very much. Have a good night.